Good morning, my name is Paul Sanderson, and today I'm going to talk to you briefly about exporting data from Reconnoiter. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by going through every example and opening every exported file, but I will show you some of the features to allow you to experiment and get to grips with Reconnoiter's features yourself. First off is the folder tree. Obviously there's a lot of data in there, and we may wish to export that to a file to possibly produce a report or to drag it into some other forensic tool. If we move to the folders ribbon, we can see that there are a number of options for exporting data. We can export to a HTML file, an XLS spreadsheet, or to an XML file. And we can also include collapsed data. Now, collapsed data is included as default, but effectively this is data where the tree is collapsed and some of the information has been hidden. So with the check mark cleared, the contents of the extend folder and the temp folder in my example won't be exported. So one very quick demonstration: if we contract all the subfolders and just, for instance, open users and export to an Excel spreadsheet, we can call that tree again. As a very imaginative. Save it, and then when we pop into the relevant folder, we can see tree.xls. And if I drag that into view, you can see within the Excel spreadsheet the folder view that we've just created. Okay, so what about extracting file information? Let's say we want to extract a complete list of all files in the volume. If we right click on the file panel, we can simply select export complete file list to CSV. Once we select that, we can choose which columns we want. We can choose a folder we want to save it to, and obviously the file name. Once we choose OK, the complete list will be created. I won't do it now because in this previous version it was 96 megabytes, which does take obviously a slight amount of time. But if we don't want to extract all files, then we can do the same, but we can extract tag files. So we highlight a number of files, right click, tag selected files, and then we can do exactly the same, but now export the tagged file list to a CSV. And in this case, I will save the file, and if we look in the folder and open the file, we can see the file list which we've just extracted. Okay, well, what about if we're just interested in the data on a couple of files, or a handful, or just a couple of columns? Extracting a file list in that manner is obviously useful, but just say, for instance, we want to know the file name and where the file starts and what volume shadow copy it's in. Well, there is a bit of an easier way, in which case we can just highlight the files we're interested in. We can right click and just copy the data that's highlighted to the clipboard. So if we want to copy this particular data, we can copy it either with or without a header. So we copy it with a header, and then we pop up a text file or a note using Notepad, and then just right click and paste that data into it. We've got the information we're after. This is tab separated, hence the slight mismatch of columns, but obviously you could then import that into something like Excel to view in another format should you require, or just copy and paste straight into a report and tidy it up like that. Finally, what about extracting files themselves? There are a number of options. First off, we can select a number of files and right click and choose extract selected files. But as this is Reconnoiter, it's designed to deal with shadow files. We are probably interested in the existing files and all their shadows. In this case, I'm going to extract selected files and all shadows. This pops up a file dialog, which I'll just resize so we can see completely, and we can choose an output folder as normal. There are two options though here. We can place the files in the original folders beneath a selected path, which basically can, another way of putting that is recreate the complete tree, and we can overwrite duplicate files if any exist. So we're going to extract with the default options, which is placed in the original folder. Once we've done that, we can pop up a Explorer window, have a quick look within there, and we've got old C volume, and we can see the MFT entries that we've extracted. In fact, these files are still being extracted, and we can see the window being grown as we do. This information, if we go to the Files dialog, we can actually see the files being extracted as we work. Obviously, MFT entries are quite large. We can also see at the end of each file name we've got the MFT file, but we've also got a date and time and a VSC number. This information is information that Reconnoiter has appended to the file name, and the options for that are within the options dialog. So we've got the VSC number, we've got the date created of the VSC file, and if we look in the Reconnoiter options dialog, under NTFS, we can see the two options: append VSC number to extracted files and append VSC date to extracted files. One final thing to show there, and if we go back to the demo folder, is these two additional files that have been created: Reconnoiter export CSV and Reconnoiter export log, with the date and time of the operation we just performed. The log file just shows the information on each of the volume shadow copies and the where the extract log has been written to, and the extract path, and the CSV, as you might imagine, is a comma separated file which shows the information on each of the files that we've extracted. And obviously we can format the different columns as required. So that's it for now. Thank you very much.